I can say this because I'm gay, but I would actually prefer, Harris, if you just called me the entire episode, because Matt Dillon said it enough that I feel like, at this point, it's just going to be part of every time any one of us says something, let's just end the sentence with it, because if I don't hear it again today, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
Yeah, I have to say, rewatching this movie in advance of this podcast, I love the movie. It's one of those movies that, you watch it as in a formative state and it sticks with you. However, you're bringing up one of the more problematic aspects of it, where that word, I'm not really going to feel comfortable saying it personally.
Kevin Dillon said it enough for all of us.
It's really problematic. There's a few things.
It's not, you know what? I disagree with you on this. I don't think it's problematic. I think that guy in 1965 was saying that every other word. He said it so often, it was just nonsense. Also, they let the dumbest, brutish, most annoying character effectively saying that stuff. So yes, it's not great to hear the word, but it makes sense coming out of that dude's mouth.
Honestly, for me, it was just lazy. It's like when our good friend, Mr. Tarantino, uses the N-word all the time. It's like, there are other words in the English language you could use. You just don't care.
I'd say this is more appropriate because we went to a Catholic school and it's not the first time we heard it.
That's fair.
No, but at the same time, I'm forced to agree with you, Chris. I do think it was a little lazy. There's a few things. Look, I love the movie. Like I said, I'm not going to qualify it anymore. But, there was lazy. There's a million other ways. I'm sure if you went back to 1965 Brooklyn, the language would be a little more colorful and varied than saying the F word over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating the word, by the way. I know I don't need to say that. But
he calls me it all the time when we're not recording, just so we all know.
Well, do texts count?
Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on this episode of the Kulturecast, I am still your host, Chris Stachiw. I am joined by the one and only, the green-haired menace. He's all the way from parts unknown, a destination that's darker than most. Your friend and mine, Father Malone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the September show.
And joining us all the way from Wolf and Raisin, he is the co-host with the aforementioned Father Malone, your friend and mine. He's a newster. What the fuck does that mean?
It works now. I understood it.
I like it. You're a newster here at the Kulturecast. Your friend and mine, soon to be your friend and mine, HP.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
HPFM. Okay.
That's right, baby. We don't have time for full names.
Where's Nash or Stills or Crosby? You guys got 2/3 of it. You got one more?
In the back. They're in the back.
That's right.
Just hear him in the bed tied up. On this episode of the Kulturecast, like Father Malone said, we are talking about preparatory school films, and we're diving right back in with Heaven Help Us, a film that came out in 1985, but it was called something else. Catholic Boys.
Yes.
Catholic Boys.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Many of you will be experiencing certain feelings.
Impure thoughts, desires, fantasies.
No, Father.
What?
Never confuse love
Your soft, perfumed, and powdered body leaning against yours.
with the deadliest of the 7 deadly sins.
What do you think they're doing?
I don't even want to think about it.
Lust. Lust is the beast that spits you out. Your bones will burn, and your marrow will be reduced to imputrid black slime.
He's just projecting his doubts about his own sexuality.
They're somewhere on the road between heaven and hell, just looking for a place to park.
Brother, my screws are gone!
You, Mr. Rudy. Do not waste your time with her. She never made it with nobody, not even me, if you can believe that. Mr. Caesar.
When one is in the presence of a superior being, well, one naturally feels inferior.
Mr. Dillon.
You ain't like this other jerks, are you?
I just got here. I just found out if you get the Pope to wave at you, that means you have sex without sin.
Welcome to St. Basil's.
Heaven help us. If God had wanted them to be angels, he would have given them wings.
Can I just jump in for a second, Chris?
Whoa.
Because I know you just played the trailer, and everyone just listened to that trailer, and it is the worst trailer I've ever heard. It focuses on every mention of sex in the movie, and there's a lot, but not that many. This isn't a sex comedy. It's all front loaded into that trailer. Everything Kevin Dillon says sexually, show as if this is going to be a big TNA romp.
Yeah.
that they're trying to lure people into. So don't believe that trailer, but watch the movie anyway. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I was reminded of that when I listened to the last episode where you guys covered If and you played the trailer. And I hadn't really watched the trailer or heard it in a long time. And I said, well, it really confirmed my suspicion. And Father Malone and I have talked about this a little bit over the years, that this movie, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but this is really, to me, this is a really nice, sweet kind of coming of age picture that they kind of, for lack of a better word, I think they kind of porkied it, right? I don't know for sure, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this was a somewhat different movie than what we were finally given, because I feel like there was some exec somewhere that said, this is really nice, but can you have a little more sex? Can you have a little more TNA? Can you have Larry Bud Melman as a bridge operator? Would that be cool? How about that?
Yeah.
I agree. There does feel like there was some tinkering to the script. Like, I'm sure this was evidently the writer, this was his master's thesis, and it got purchased straight out, which is rare. But at some point they were like, we need this to be a little more outrageous to not even at the very least just to compete with what was out there. But so I do feel that that's grafted on, but I don't think it hurts the movie at all, honestly.
So the movie is directed by Michael Danare, written by, like you mentioned, Charles Porpora, who has this credit and
Satisfaction.
And Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Justine Bateman.
Oh man, it's like the absolute height to the absolute depth.
Yeah. And this film stars Andrew McCarthy, Mary Stuart Masterson, Kevin Dillon, Wallace Shawn, John Hurd. Man,
keep going.
Smith,
it's an amazing
Donald
cast.
Sutherland. Yeah, it's a great cast. It's set in Brooklyn in 1965 at a Catholic school, and we have the main character being played by Andrew McCarthy, who is a newcomer to a school where everybody is already miserable, and he learns what it truly means to be a miserable, guilt-ridden Catholic.
Oh, it's way worse than that, because he's come to Brooklyn because his parents were both dead, and now he lives with his grandparents and his younger sister.
It's even better. Just make it even more awful and depressing. So, HP, since you are a newcomer to this show, tell me a little bit about your experience with Heaven Help Us.
Sure. So obviously, like I had mentioned earlier, this was a cable perennial in 1985. I would have been about 12 years old at the time. I had two older brothers, and part of this, the background of this, have to understand that both Father Malone and I went to high school, to Catholic school, obviously not as grim and unrelentingly gloomy as St. Basil's, but that was our experience. However, I had two older brothers.
That was my experience, definitely.
Well, my experience is a little different, just not to go back on this. But, for me, I was coming out of the public schools in my hometown were horrific. They're terrible. They're not much better now. So for me, going to this prep school was kind of a way out for me in a way, because I couldn't wait to get away from the public schools in my hometown. They were terrible. I had a terrible experience there. So unlike Father Malone, who kind of spent gloriously misspent youth going through all sorts of religious schools and so forth, for me, it was I didn't have that same experience. And I had two older brothers, like I was mentioning, that both went to the same school. So there was really 12 straight years of having a relative of mine or me in this school. So watching this movie in 1985, and it was always something that my brothers were always kind of snickering about, because they knew they were going through it at the time. They were at the school. There wasn't the same sort of corporal punishment that you see depicted in this movie, but it was a heavy place to be, I would say. For me, the thing I was reminded of mostly when I was rewatching it was not the brothers, because we had brothers as teachers and so forth, but for me, it was somebody whose role was literally the dean of discipline. This was a guy who was not a member of the religious order, but his job was to maintain, law and order in the school. And that included things like, yelling at you if your shirt was untucked, because we had a dress code, often hustling kids through the crowd, grabbing their head, taking them into the office, things like that. So it wasn't as like I said, as brutal as we see in this movie, but there was an element of that. And I'm sure Father Malone can back me up on some of this.
Oh, I lived in constant fear from all of those people.
I was about to say, Father Malone, tell us a little bit about your experience with this film, given that, again, like you mentioned, you programmed this month, and I know that this has a special meaning for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, HP said it best. We went to this school, basically. It wasn't as unrelentingly bleak, and there was no sort of corporal punishment, but the same sort of feelings, permeated. It was utterly okay. Look, I've been going to Catholic school since kindergarten. I all through grade school and then deposited here. And we talked, Chris, when we spoke about the movie If, like I caught the tail end in grade school of nuns' corporal punishment, where they could slap the shit out of you. And what's funny is I was talking to my mother about this today, Chris, because she listened to that episode, and she said, "Why didn't you kids tell us?" And my thing was like, it just felt like that's what school was. You know, I didn't know any different, and my parents had gone through it, so it's just sort of accepted. And then, you know, by the time we got into high school, it was no longer accepted, sort of anywhere. Like we knew it was wrong. The actual corporal punishment that could be meted out on you, just the threat of it is sometimes kind of enough. And even though you knew they wouldn't do it, I was never once convinced that any of those teachers wouldn't have hauled off and punched me and it would have been okay in the end, you know?
Did they ever get physical with you?
No. I tried to keep my head down with faculty in high school. My thing was just trying to avoid big, dumb jocks. That was, you know, but, anyway, I came to this movie as HP did, like maybe the year after it came out. So it's like 86, which is still the year before we go to prep school. So maybe in a way, like this movie, like, you know, programmed me to think that this is what we were going to get. It is seeing it like the year before we attended.
Yeah, and it's not the best sort of dress rehearsal for what you hope your experience is going to be in school. Like I said, for me, it was more of an escape anyway. But for me, it was a little bit more of a goof. Like I didn't go through the same indoctrination that Father Malone did through kindergarten for all this religious sort of training and the threat of violence, you know, almost constantly. But it was a bit of a joke for me because I would hear my brothers come home and they would joke about this brother or that brother or something funny that happened. So it wasn't as much of an implicit threat for me. But at the same time, you know, I can say that, you know, at least I could see in my experiences people like Brother Constance, who's like the scariest, you know, motherfucker in this movie. Let's face it. He delights in the punishment. That to me was more like the Dean of Discipline, someone who took a delight and a special interest in what they might consider shaping the children's minds. But in reality, let's be honest, they like to be, you know, to brutalize kids and make them fear them.
Yeah, man.
They stuck their hands all the way into that clay.
Well, yeah, right.
Absolutely.
They're shaping them all right, and they're not letting them go.
Yeah. You wouldn't have been as good if I hadn't beaten you. Like, well, we'll never know, will we?
You know, I'm going to say this much about all of the corporal punishment stuff. I went to public schools in Texas. I didn't have to deal with any of this shit in regards to physically being abused. I did have to deal with other stuff at school, not really bullies physically abusing me. It was more just like verbal. And after a while, it was like, after a while, you stop seeing those kids because you're able to just like go fuck off to your own part of the world or just go home from school early because you just don't care, which is what I did. And, you know, I didn't have to deal with that, but I did have to deal with teachers being verbally abusive, which is always fun. And it's even better when you get to go back to their class the next year, sit in on their class, and then make them look stupid in front of the rest of the people that are they're teaching, which is what I did, thankfully, after I got. Yeah. So I had a teacher in front of the entire class say, well, because you guys are talking about your corporal punishment. This is the only story I can ever tell. The advanced placement exams were classes that you could take. You could take an AP class that would prepare you for the exam that would give you college credit before you went to college. So you could start with 15 hours ahead, whatever, essentially a semester or two ahead. So I did that in high school, and in my, I guess it would have been my junior year, I had an AP English teacher tell me in front of the entire class, Stachiw, you're going to get a 1 on the exam. Okay, fine. Because I didn't do a good job in class. I was sleeping half the time. I didn't care.
That's kind of what a prediction that is.
Yeah, boy, call your shot, huh? So after I got a 5, which is the highest score you can get, I went into her class the next year. And I thanked her in front of the entire class for telling me I was going to get a 1 when I got a 5.
Oh, that must have felt sweet.
It felt really good. But at the same time, like, it all stems from this bullshit here that this movie talks about, which is like,
you never should have been driven to that point.
You wish you could punch me and like you, the professor, wish you could punch me. And I guarantee a lot of teachers wish they could punch their students, but they shouldn't be allowed to. And like, that's the problem, you know, like at all.
Not. we can all understand the frustration of teachers and everything, but there does seem to be a special
frustration of people in general.
Right. But there does seem to be a special breed, at least there was sort of baked into this kind of environment that attracted those who that was their thing. Like
my mom talks about it. She went to Catholic school and she went to Catholic school in I guess would have been the 50s. And she talks about getting hit on the wrist with rulers and all kinds of shit. It's like how were parents okay with this? Like, I don't get that part of this at all. Because if I'm a parent and someone tells me that they're doing this to my kid, I'm going down to the school. I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'll kill him. If someone was treating my kid the way Father Constance or Brother Constance treats any of the kids in this movie, that guy would be dead somewhere and they would not find his body, because it's just like, it's unconscionable, frankly.
Yeah.
Well, it's a unique situation too, because it's a religious order and a religious school. I think, certainly I would say Dunn's grandparents, it's almost considered a mandate that they should have the ultimate authority to shape the kids any way they see fit. They're basically, they're getting their orders from a higher power, let's say.
Right.
So
that's the answer, by the way. That is the answer.
Right. So it's not difficult. I mean, public school thing is similar, but not quite as egregious, perhaps. But to my mind, that's kind of why, at least in this movie, they get away with it. So
I think in most people's minds, like particularly at that time, if a nun slapped you, you had to have done something horrible.
Right.
Right.
Like an affront.
Right. Not knowing that there's other kinds of nuns out there who just like slapping people. When I was in second grade, I had a nun tell the entire class that I was going to hell and that none of them should tell their parents that she had said that, or they might join me.
Ooh, that is.
I was in second grade.
That's a certified psychopath right there. I mean,
absolutely. But you know what? Even in second grade, some part of me was thinking, like, what is she talking about? Like, I was too talkative, so I'm going to burn forever.
Yes, I mean, Father Abruzzi says as much in this movie.
Oh my God, doesn't it? Yes, let's stop talking about corporal punishment.
Oh my God. Well, we're gonna have to talk about it one way or another, because this movie is replete with it, and it actually factors into the climax of it factors into almost every fucking scene of this movie. Frankly, other than Kevin Dillon being the most closeted gay character in film history.
Absolutely.
Right, because that's the joke at the end of the movie. Yeah
mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, he's like in a hairdresser shop.
Yeah. Oh, I make lots of money. Bet you do.
Yeah. Tips are great.
Yeah. But so we have Andrew McCarthy come into the school and he just starts getting into trouble with everybody. But he meets Kevin Dillon, who's the resident dickhead. He meets Malcolm Danare, who's the resident fat kid, I guess. Thank God they don't call him fatty. They just call him the other F word the entire movie. Yeah. And then you have, like we've mentioned already, Patrick Dempsey is kind of there. I really appreciated Stephen Jeffries, especially being in the character who jerks off all the time, given,
what he ended up as.
What he ended up doing. Lots of gay porn.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Yeah. Which, hey, nothing wrong with gay porn.
He's great in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Nothing wrong with gay porn, but man,
he maybe only has like 3 lines in the whole movie, but he's indelible. He's fantastic. Yeah. The scene where he's giving the Eucharist to all the girls.
Oh my God, deliriously good.
Oh, and disturbing at the same time.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, is disturbing, but like he is so fucking funny, just trying to hold it together. And
I think it's funnier because of what he does in his real life in the future. It's like this guy's playing like a pervy, horny character in this movie. And he's
ends up at the Peekaboo Theater.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I hate the end narration on this movie?
It's terrible. Aside from, like Chris mentioned, the fact that you get this sort of wind up of a joke about Rooney and how he ended up. The narration, I hate it in the same way that I hated the narration in Blade Runner. Let's be honest. It was sort of tacked on. Again, it smacks of, changes made after the fact. Like, maybe we should have some kind of tag at the end where you find out what happened to these people. I don't really need to know what happened to Dunn and what happened to Corbett and Williams. I really don't need to know. The slice of life was there.
I'm going to argue with you on that, HB, because I did want to know what happened to Dunn. Like I wanted to know if he ever reconnected with her. I mean, I didn't need to know it, but if they're going to give us any information, at least we can know that. But they shouldn't give us any. We could have handled that ending.
But even that's unsatisfying. You find out that he met up with Danny at at Woodstock. And it's a dumb joke that Rooney makes about, 500,000 people are naked and whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think he calls them all the F words too.
Yeah, he does actually.
I avoided
I was
that.
just, yeah.
It's just like it's ever present with his character, and it makes him so unlikable.
Yes.
Like,
but you know what? I don't like his character. Like, I know he's
it's perfect. It's like Sharon Stone in Casino. Like, it's exactly what he like. And Kevin Dillon's such a perfect asshole.
He is.
Him and Matt Dillon both. Like, they just look like. I mean, look, there's a reason Matt Dillon plays Charles Bukowski. And he essentially plays it. He's playing Bukowski the way Bukowski was. Like, yeah.
Oh, I bet they're sweet, the Dillon boys.
I mean, I'm sure they are. But they really have a knack for playing like the scummiest dick. I mean, even Kevin Dillon in that episode of Tales from the Crypt,
yes,
where he's playing like essentially this character.
Yes, indeed.
Just like a dickhead, an antagonistic dickhead.
The thing about, when I was rewatching the movie, speaking of the Rooney character, like, why is there always in every group like one fucking asshole that we all just kind of accept? We just shrug and go like, well, that's just Rooney, I guess. Like, he's not for everyone, but I guess he's ours. Like,
because he's not for everyone.
Yeah, right. Maybe.
But Father Malone, you referenced this, like our experience at the school, we saw all of these cliques. The chief among them are these jock assholes that we had to deal with day in and day out. And in every jock clique, there's at least one Rooney, if not more. I actually think that's fairly true to life.
Yeah, no, totally agree with myself.
But why is there one? Is the
why
question?
is
why
there
does there
one?
have to be?
Because I think people they want to cede to somebody who's going to lead the group, right? They're afraid to speak up and be outgoing and have that same sort of charisma. So they're willing to cede that role to somebody who's going to lead the group, I think.
Do you think Rooney is leading this group? I think Rooney thinks he's leading this group, and they're all just sort of shaking their head.
Well, I think he is, because here's the thing: Williams isn't leading the group.
Okay, Corbett obviously Williams isn't, but it isn't Corbett.
I think Rooney is leading the group. I agree with HP 100%. But here's the thing: I think there's two kinds of leaders. There's like the dickhead leader, who's the charismatic guy, and then there's the leader who's also charismatic but not a dickhead. And if you're not one, you're probably the other if you're leading a group. Like, I am the latter, not the former most of the time when I lead a group. But like, there are people like Rudy that are just like antagonistic, put everybody down. Like,
I think it's, you know what though? I think it's like he's leading the group as HP because like nobody else wants it.
Yeah, I mean,
they're only a group because they have no other choice. And like, look around,
You could make the case that Dunn becomes the real de facto leader once they accept him into the group, because like, don't they take the head off of St. Basil because he's depressed. They've accepted him and he's kind of like, he becomes a bit more of someone that they can follow. But Rooney, I never thought of Rooney as anything but the de facto leader.
They all confer with Dunn. Like, like even Rooney goes to Dunn to like find out what to do.
Because they're not idiots. They know that Dunn has more.
He's the leader. He's the godfather. He's pulling the strings.
He's the consigliere.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing about Dunn is he's still, and I was struck by this as I was watching it again, is he's very much a cipher in this whole movie. Like, you don't really get a sense for why they would want to follow him, because you don't really learn a ton about him. You obviously, the biggest part of his character arc is the romance that he has with Danny. And there's some stuff about him not wanting to be a priest and dealing with his crazy death obsessed little sister or whatever. But really, do you learn anything much more about him than that?
And that essentially, he's like constantly feeling put upon by the expectations of everybody else. But you've kind of already mentioned that. He's like, they wanted me to be the Pope. They wanted me to be this. And it's like, he like wants to be his own person. And I guess in the end he is, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know what else I needed to know about him, actually, HP. I mean, he's the audience through line. He's, the sort of flavorful but not too flavorful character.
He's kind of like the character, the main character in Caddyshack in a lot of ways. That's the way he feels, but not as well written. I think.
I agree that there isn't in the writing. I also think this is one of, if not Andrew McCarthy's best performance. And I think he informs that character with just his presence. So, it might not be on the page, but looking at that guy and how he's reacting to things, I know everything about that character.
Yeah. And not only that, but in interviews, if you read any interviews, he's stated many times that this is not only his favorite movie of that time period, but he also considers it his best movie, which I actually think is pretty spot on. The only other movie I can think, I mean, I'm leaving out all the Brat Pack stuff because that's its own thing.
That we have to, because it's mostly garbage. It's
mostly garbage. But the only other movie I can compare, obviously, the only other movie that I had experience in up to that time was he was in Class. Do you remember Class?
Oh, yeah.
Rob Lowe.
Another prep school flick.
Which has some similarities in a funny way with this. It's almost like if you took Heaven Help Us and updated it to modern times, because that movie takes place present day, right? And
well, you know what? Class is the movie that this studio wanted Heaven Help Us to be. They wanted a straight up sex farce with prep school kids. And that's what Class really is.
Isn't the poster for this movie supposed to look like a penis? Is it not? Is it not?
In front of the stained glass window?
Right.
If
you look at it, it does. And again, only saying that in reference to what you're talking about, HP, which is what this movie isn't is what people were expecting it was, especially at the time. 85?
Yeah.
In 85, the fact that they made this movie the way that they made it, and they didn't even, it looks like a fucking dick. It does.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Even with the title "Heaven Help Us," what does that evoke? Catholic boy,
if they were really going
super
for
austere, right? That's I don't know. I wish that this movie wasn't so tonally all over the place, because that's my big takeaway from this movie. Is it's kind of tonally, not a mess, but it's tonally all over the place. Because you have at times Brother Constance literally beating the shit out of kids, which I don't think you're supposed to be laughing at. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. But then there are scenes of genuine comedy. And then there's stuff again, I assume Kevin Dillon's character was supposed to be funny at the time, but it's not now. But if I'm interpreting it the way it's meant to be interpreted, then that would be funny ha-has. And then this movie's not even classified on Wikipedia as a comedy. And I don't know if it is. I think it works either way, but I don't think it works either way very well. You know what I mean? I like this movie more than almost everything we've watched this month, but I think should have picked one or the other. And I think it was probably one, and something else, I think we've already talked about it a little bit, was injected into it forcefully. And they should have just gone with this movie could have worked as a drama. It really could have. It really could have. And it should have. And it would have. And people would have liked it more probably if it had.
The Wallace Shawn speech, where he comes into the school dance and gives them what's going to happen to them when they're being ripped apart in hell because of lust, because they've admired the buttocks of somebody else dancing. And then, hey, have a good dance. That's a great joke. To me, that is the level of humor I think probably that initial script had. That right. Sort of wasn't going to be any sort of wacky shenanigans. No car was going to get ripped apart on the bridge.
Alfred E. Newman masks.
Right. Okay. Basically, yeah.
For me, I hear what you're saying, Chris, about it being a little tonally all over the place. And I can't disagree. But for me, because even the look of this movie is so grim and sort of gloomy, and they did a wonderful job. I think this was no doubt shot at actual locations in New York schools. But I think because of that, you need to have the levity and you need to have these bits of humor, as tonally jarring as it might seem at times, to bring you out of that, because otherwise all you're left with are kids who are depressed about their lot in life, who are getting beaten half to death every day by a psychopathic brother. You know what I mean?
But that's a movie. I mean, that's a serious movie that somebody would make to try to get Oscar bait out of. That's a real movie. But right. I agree with you. It does need those release valve moments to kind of break up what feels like, a movie where children are just being beaten in every other scene, because they are. And again, it's not for ha-has. It's at one point Malcolm Danare is crawling around on all fours. It's just it's a fucking nightmare.
To whom, brother?
Jay Patterson grabbing that kid's head and slamming it against the blackboard. What in the...
I'm sorry, brother. Yeah,
that's fucking Christ movie. I know that this is real. Father Malone's going to tell us how it's real. But it turns the stomach.
Right. And on top of that, it also concerns not only our lead character who's moved in with his grandparents because his parents have been killed, and was it a car accident or something? We don't actually find out.
They never say.
Right. So that tragedy sort of kicks us off in this wild comedy. And then he meets a girl who runs a candy shop across the street from St. Basil's, the school he attends, who is running the shop in lieu of her father, who is in such a deep state of depression that he can barely move in the back room. And eventually, the school administration will find her unacceptable for the neighborhood because they're curtailing this insane discipline that they're trying to inflict on everybody. And they have child services take her away. And we don't know if she's ever seen it. Like, that's really the plot of this movie. So I thank God all of these like moments of levity are in there. I think they go too far with the bridge sequence and, you know, a couple of other things. But like, I think tonally it works because it never devolves. Like, it, even as wacky as the situation is, it's still filmed with the same sort of gravity. You know, I don't know.
Right.
It never like knocks me out of the story. Bridge scene knocks me out of the story.
Oh my Christ.
I agree.
It's not great. It's not great. I wish it wasn't in the movie, but because the dance scene is so good, you know, and
you know
like
what I wish was in the movie? The scene from the end of If.
Where they blow everybody up at the end?
Yeah, but just like blowing away the characters in this movie, the priests.
Oh, well, yeah. Like,
if anybody deserves it, if Malcolm McDowell deserves to walk in from stage right and do that to any characters, it's the one in this movie.
Right. You know what? I am fully roused. I want to cheer when Andrew McCarthy knocks him, Brother Constance, out, you know? Twice he does it. When he sticks up for Caesar and like knocks him on his ass, like that's a cheering moment for me. And then again at the end, like it's totally earned. And that to me is way more powerful when Brother Constance is confronting him in front of everybody and he slaps Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy comes back with this uppercut that knocks him on his ass. Like, I don't know. It feels so earned. It feels more impactful than the entire climax of If, you know? That wasn't so shocking and like, you know, amazing to me or anything. This was, and it was more human and, you know, didn't need to go to this flight of fancy. We had lived entirely with this character. And I think that character and does get his comeuppance again because, you know, Donald Sutherland sides with these kids, throws them out and gets a progressive in there. I love this movie. Have I said that, guys?
I love it too. But one thing that struck me this time that I hadn't really picked up on before is there's a little bit of an inconsistency, I think, with Donald Sutherland's character. What was his name?
Brother Thaddeus. Brother Thaddeus.
That's right. Yes, Brother Thaddeus. So at one point, John Hurt's character, Brother Timothy, is strolling with him and telling him, because he had witnessed Brother Constance, you know, beating Rooney's head against the wall. And he basically says to him, like, he seemed to be taking a delight in it, brother. And at the time, Brother Thaddeus is like, well, he is our most effective teacher. And that's kind of the way things are. And I'm like, I mean, that makes sense or whatever. But then all of a sudden at the end now, like.
Yeah, because he witnessed it for himself. He chases this kid in here and smacks the shit out of him. The kid's already bleeding and terrified. Like, what's to be gained there?
But is that you saying that he doesn't believe what Brother Timothy is trying to say? Yes,
that's exactly what I'm saying. I think that's the systemic problem in the entire Roman Catholic organization. Like there comes a time when someone's just like I know, but it all comes down to like, I cannot fathom that that's the truth, that he actually enjoys hitting these children. And then you see it and go, oh shit. And maybe Brother Timothy, who's a progressive, like this is 65. And like, this is sort of the way it's been with, you know, at these schools up until then. Like Brother Timothy represents like, the new agey kind of guy. Like he's getting down with the students. He's flipping cards with them and smoking cigarettes with them over at the. Hey, Rudy, I'm hip. You know, we can hang out and be friends. He's talking the lingo with the kids.
I guess I kind of agree. I agree with you, HB, because I'm of this mindset that like he could have walked into that classroom at any moment and checked for himself.
Right. Why would he have said, okay, you know what, Brother Timothy, I hear you, but I need to see for myself. Let me audit his class. And maybe Constance would have been on his best behavior and not shown himself to be the psychopath that he is. But I don't know, that to me was still rang now a little false to me. But I will say probably the most realistic aspect of that is that after Constance is exposed and he says, I don't want you working with kids anymore. What does he do? He just transfers him out of the order.
He just goes somewhere else.
God knows where he goes and what further, havoc
damage he'll be inflicting on the youth.
Seriously. And I never picked up on that as a kid, but I certainly picked up on it now.
It's almost like they shone a spotlight on it.
Huh. Where was that movie set?
Yeah, right. Well, again, like when I think of the Catholic Church, that's what I think of. But this is that's like 1A now, because it used to be 1A. Beating the shit out of kids used to be the 1A you thought about.
Yes, now it's a whole other deal.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's essentially still has to do with kids. They just don't beat the shit out of kids anymore. They do what they do to them, which is sexually assault them. Fucking Catholic Church. I swear to God, man, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, yeah. Look. No, what? Yeah, man. No.
Yeah, it is.
What I'm trying to say is,
everybody get excited about how bad it is. Correct.
If you want to raise at least an agnostic, make sure they go to Catholic school their whole life. Because by 8th grade, by the time I got to high school, I was done. You know,
right? Well, and especially if you were in the midst of this shit, like it's different now. Like I had friends that went to John Paul II High School. Ooh, yeah, it was a very rich, expensive place to go in Plano, Texas. And I had some friends that went there, and they said it was a great time. They weren't getting the shit beat out of them. They probably had a better time than I did. You know why? Because they were going to a private school that cost like $30,000 a year. And they probably had lunches cooked for them by people that gave a shit, which I'm not saying people at my school didn't give a shit, but didn't give a shit about what they were offering us.
They didn't care at our school either.
Yeah. And
our cafeteria was garbage.
Right. It's a different time now. Catholic school now is perceived as a rich kid thing, not a disciplinary nightmare, you know.
Well, Massachusetts is lousy with Catholic high schools. That
they have them here where I live. I mean, they're everywhere. There's one across the street from my house, and then there's a big high school, Pius X. Cool. Like, do you think you're cool if you go to one of those places? I'm sorry. Like when someone says they go to Catholic high school, I'm like, sorry.
No, you should say, oh, you are getting a superior education, which is all I took out of it. I was like, you can keep all of this stuff that you're piling on me and just teach me the best you can, which is another reason I think parents were looking the other way. They knew their kids were getting a superior education from those nuns and such. I feel like I got a superior education from the Catholic organization, but that doesn't mean I subscribe to their undead hero of a savior. You know,
I feel like
I like what he said,
but you got a good education on paper, but the fact that you had to go through any amount of corporal punishment almost completely like null and voids education. You know what I mean? Like this is God damn you. Hee-haw. Turned into hee-haw real quick. You know what I mean though? Like it's hard for me to sit here and validate teachers beating kids.
No, let's not. But I will say this. James Horner's score in this movie is really wonderful. Thank you. It's a good score. The sort of Irish score. This is like 1985. I know James Horner gets a lot of hate now, doesn't he?
Does he?
He does. Like,
does he?
I don't know.
He's more beloved. I think he's more beloved now.
Yeah, he's no Hans Zimmer.
Okay. Hans Zimmer, I guess, is the big joke. But I've always loved James Horner's scores, and he did something very cool here, which is he hired Irish musicians. So you're hearing actual traditional Irish music being played, and his compositions are really good and aren't the sort of typical reels and jigs that you'd find in every other thing said in an Irish community. So it's always good to hear a buldran, which is that drum you keep hearing throughout the entire thing. So I wanted to point that out because really, I've always liked the music, but watching it again last night, it sort of struck home like how much I like the music.
Agreed. Yeah.
Who hates James Horner?
I don't know. Maybe I was confusing him with Hans Zimmer.
I was like Hocus Pocus, fucking
Aliens,
The Rocketeer.
Hey, there's no question. I love the man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I just don't know
had him confused with Hans Zimmer.
Him. Oh, his work on Avatar must be what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and didn't he did Titanic as well, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So maybe where people are a little down on him because of the popularity of what he was. But
all of his work with Ron Howard, that's why people don't like him.
Yeah, I think he did Far and Away also.
He did Willow.
I don't think people dislike James Horner.
Yeah, okay. James Horner's great. Never mind what I said.
Are there composers that people don't like? Like, is there someone?
Certainly.
Who?
Danny Elfman.
Who doesn't like Danny Elfman?
Who doesn't like Danny Elfman?
There's a whole wave of people that I'm looking up right now that don't
dislike
like
him. I think people just say like his stuff all sounds the same.
Exactly.
Which but that's not disliking. That's just like pointing out the obvious.
No, everyone loves Danny Elfman. I was joking. I'm not.
Is there someone that people genuinely dislike? Like
there has to be. Isn't there think of a composer and the one you don't like, and then say that composer?
I can't think of any. I mean, who doesn't like Alan Silvestri?
Right.
Everybody
Jerry Goldsmith. Like someone like, I fucking hate Jerry Goldsmith. I want to kill him. Like, he's already dead. So that's not applicable.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I can't think of a composer I would throw up against the wall.
Right. Me either.
Me neither.
That's fucking weird. That's a weird thing to think about. I guess it really is the screenwriter and the director and the actor's fault, not the guy who makes the music.
Yeah,
weird.
Right, Is there an editor you thought of that like you'd be like, oh God, the editing was terrible?
I mean, Sally Menken only because she worked with Tarantino, but she's the only reason those movies work.
Yeah, so that you don't hate her. In fact, you like her because
I appreciate her, but she also made Tarantino's movies better than they should be. That's the problem.
I see. Well, I'm only going to praise her higher. Then.
Whoever edited Bohemian Rhapsody, I think they actually won an Oscar for it, despite the fact that the editing is probably some of the worst that I've ever seen in a.
But you don't know that person's name.
No, but somebody does. But... Somebody does enough to give him an award.
Yeah.
I don't. That's the thing. Like, it's weird. Like, are there cinematographers that people don't like?
No, like
it's directors and actors.
Directors and writers and actors.
Writers, I guess, but writers are normally like, unless the writer's also a director, the writers are also like it. Normally, like I think it starts with, is it actor or director first? Who gets the hate first? I think it's actors, right?
Actors, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they deserve it.
They do. Fuck them. They're getting all the money and the glory. They get to go play pretend and ride horses and shit.
Get smacked in the face by Jay Patterson real hard.
And you know what? Let's talk about Jay Patterson. He's great in this movie.
He's phenomenal.
He's horrifying in this movie.
He's horrifying in the most real world way possible. Like, HP, our dean of discipline, I could take any single day of the week over Jay Patterson. If he had been our guy, I don't know. I probably would have been a more obedient student.
He was. I know that Jay Patterson obviously has worked a lot. I think he did a lot of TV. I don't remember him being especially featured as a featured actor in a motion picture, but he's so good in this. He actually, watching this again, he reminded me kind of a young Philip Seymour Hoffman. He sort of resembled him. And I'm like, this guy again. And I also want to give a shout out to Malcolm Danare as Caesar, who is maybe my single favorite part of the whole movie, full stop. Caesar is so endlessly quotable. He has kind of a Stephen First kind of a vibe around him, Yeah. He's sort of snooty, but he's, I don't know. You get the sense that maybe there's more to him than this sort of person that he projects. He helps Dunn with his homework and whatever, and he eventually befriends Rooney and helps him. But he has the best lines. His situations are funny when he has to use his homework to wipe his ass because there's no toilet paper. And then he has to explain to Brother Constance why he doesn't have his homework. I love
You
it.
don't have your homework, Caesar?
I must have misplaced it. I don't know why. Between he did that, he was in Christine as one of the bullies, which couldn't be more tonally different. Yes. But then he kind of, again, he's one of these guys who did a lot of TV, but I don't remember him being like featured in any big way.
No, that's how good an actor he is, because I believed him here as the brainy kids amongst the peons. And I completely believed him as Moochie was just the grossest, most illiterate human being ever.
It was also in 1999's Godzilla.
Was he?
Yeah.
He was.
I like that movie.
I have not seen it since its premiere.
Neither have I.
That would be one worth reading.
It's over 20 years.
That movie is real. Everything around that movie is almost more fun than the movie. But Puff Daddy and Matthew Broad, Taco Bell.
I don't like you. I want to bite you. I'm going to bite you.
Oh, God, wow.
Puff Daddy, baby.
Yeah, that Godzilla movie is real weird, but he's in it. So, man, he plays the character in this movie really well, almost so well that it makes me forget about how bad that character, essentially the same character in Up the Academy, is.
Yes, this is the flip side of that, because you know what? I kind of knew this guy in high school, Caesar. I won't say his name, but I liked him a tremendous amount, and I love this group of kids, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, all of this, it is a motley crew,
right?
Like, thrown together. They would never be friends in any other sort of situation, but it really is them versus the institutions sort of beating on them. And I love the sequence where they all the schools, the Pope is coming to New York. It's the first time the Pope has come to America. And all the students are bussed in to line the streets to wave to the Pope. And our 5 characters disappear and they go see an Elvis movie. And this line makes me laugh every time.
Even this year, you son of a bitch.
Which
you got one in this year, even without it, you fucking monster.
And I didn't program that one, right? I did not program Blue Hawaii.
No, you sure did not.
I slipped it under the radar. But like, what they're watching the movie and Rudy's like, oh God, what did they cut Elvis's balls off? And like they show him like on the raft, and it's all resplendent. And I'm thinking about Elvis, who to these kids was the fucking total rebel, and like looking at him then, like I don't know. I love that scene. And I love that they all do that together. They all just cut to go watch a movie, which I did many, many times in high school. So
even though, like, let's be honest, Williams and Corbett don't really contribute too much to the through line of the movie.
Numbers.
And in fact,
you need numbers.
That's true. And the other thing that I was struck by was the movie was a lot more episodic in structure than I remembered it being, because ultimately there's not a ton of plot to hang the movie on, right? You have Dunn, he comes in, but it's really about these sort of misadventures that he has. Like there's, the scene where they take the screws out of Caesar's desk and there's a confrontation, but ultimately, and even the stuff with him and Danny is only there for a brief moment and then it's sort of gone, and it doesn't really carry through the whole movie. But it's really, like that about it, that it's not as if they're working towards like some final goal at the end of the movie. Like they're going to, they need to put on a show like in Porky's or something, or they need to, I don't know, like rescue somebody from some situation. It's just really about these guys, their experiences in this really dismal situation and how they got each other through it. I really like that about it.
Yeah. And can I just say that the romance between Danny and Dunn is incredibly sweet. And I've been in love with Mary Stuart Masterson ever since this movie because she's so good. And those two together, I don't know, again, last night, just that's sweet and innocent love amidst all this other nonsense. Like I got the sense that Dunn would have been able to take everything. Like he wouldn't have lashed out ever if he had Danny the entire time, So, and you know what? Like as tonally all over the place as the movie is, I think it absolutely all works. I love this movie's great.
I think
I defy both of you. I defy you, HP in particular, and I'm going to deal with you back on the fake streets of Boston, my friend.
Whoa.
No. Look, I agree, but sometimes I question, like, in a movie, like I'll give you an example. This is a weird example, but follow me on this. The movie Heavy Metal. It's a movie that a lot of us, like Father Malone and I, saw when we were very young. Right. And to us, this was an idealized adult cartoon that we saw. We had never seen.
Are you accusing me of nostalgia?
No. Follow me on this. Okay. No. Follow me on this. So years and years later, I'm going over to somebody's house and we're going to settle in. We're going to watch movies. And I said, you have to see this movie. It had just come out on DVD. You got to see Heavy Metal. He was a bit younger than I had. He hadn't seen it. I'm like, you got to see this. It's going to freak you out. It's great. We put it on. Within about 30 minutes, he turned to me and he's like, oh, this is okay, I guess. It's not. The problem was I had seen it at such a formative period and I kind of glommed onto it. And, when you see a movie when you're a kid, like you never really forget how it made you feel. And sometimes wonder, as I was watching Heaven Help Us, maybe there's a little bit of that at play with me because I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. And I can't not love it, but that doesn't mean I can't see some of the shortcomings.
He got your ass good, Father.
Let me tell you something.
I did your ass good. You got burned, pal.
I liked HP and Stachiw both shut up. Listen, this movie was great then, and I've reevaluated it every year, and my opinion hasn't changed. I agree. Look, it does have problems. I said it before. Like the bridge sequence is obviously there. For what reason? I don't know. Like some studio executive said, make something wacky. And they were like, let's give them this. And I don't like the sort of wrap up at the end. And there are little things here and there throughout. But overall, I think this is a wonderful little slice of life in Brooklyn in the 60s, in and amongst this community. I think all the performances are solid right across the board. Dana Barron, can we just mention her for a second? Who was the original Audrey Griswold, in National Lampoon's Vacation. She is so, I don't know, like she's in like 2 scenes and she's like so good. I know she eventually had like health problems, which is why she sort of dropped out of things, but she's great. Yardley Smith, Lisa Simpson, for no reason is in the movie, like she's great too. Like Donald Sutherland,
who's in it. He's kind of like the big name that they attached to the movie, I'm sure, because everybody knows who he is. But
he was in Animal House.
That's right.
I won't go schizo, will I?
It's a possibility. I'm looking at the list here, and there's even actors that, I hate to use the phrase that guy, but there's even actors that are inveterate character actors. Like Philip Bosco is in it. He plays Brother Paul. He was in Trading Places. He was in 3 Men and a Baby. These are guys, like, the movie is kind of suffused with so much talent and so many people that you've seen and
was
loved
Brother
in
Paul
other
the one
movies.
at the physical fitness brother?
Yes, exactly.
Teaching them to fight the commies. Yeah, he's great.
Right.
He is one of those guys. He is that guy.
John Hurd, like
John Hurd is that guy.
Yeah, one of the great those guys. I mean, Vic Makazian, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
I mean that's what I know him from almost solely.
HP and I love him from the movie Big and his connections tonally to George Papard in general, being a horrible man-child. But we love John Hurd.
I've never seen Big.
Oh, you don't need to.
It's all right. It's got Tom Hanks. It's got Tom Hanks in it.
No. It's worthwhile. I mean, it's not. Look, it's one of those movies that I think you've probably heard your whole life that, oh, it's so great, and it's Tom Hanks's big thing. It's a good movie. It's worth your hour and a half. It's not time wasted to see it.
Robert Loggia, Tom Hanks dancing on a piano. Why haven't I seen it? As Heather Drain likes to say, L is for Loggia.
And she's always right.
She fucking is. You know what though? I feel like you mentioned it, HP, already. These movies, Father Malone, this one and Up the Academy and If, they have felt all very much the same. It's like a Huck Finn novel. They're just walking around and doing a thing, and then they do something else, and they do something else, and they do something else, and none of the things that they do are ever bigger than the other. Maybe the final thing is, but it's all just like a day in the life, and we're just following them, and they're having a good time. Like, that is what these movies have been so far, yeah?
True, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this is the best of them so far. You know what? HP with the whole nostalgia point. This movie, Up the Academy, is the movie where the nostalgia could come into play, but it didn't. That movie is like a like genuine, like kind of like doo-doo. Like, it's
if I saw that movie today, I would still like the things about it. But
wait, so is that a movie you programmed during this month, Father Malone? Is that one of them? Because it's
Up the Academy.
Yeah.
Now, the only redeeming factor, follow me on this. Well, maybe two. One is obviously the presence of Stacey Nelkin that cannot be overstated. And there's some fun to be had with Ron Liebman's performance, despite the fact that he took his name off of the picture. But yeah, it's not a good movie. I haven't seen If. I did listen to the episode today that you guys posted on If, and I think you probably saved me the trouble of watching it, because it doesn't sound like it's a good
we did
time.
it.
Yeah, look at that. One life has been saved.
There you go.
Your
You saved
podcast could save a life.
and that's one that's one
the
that
weirding way.
I've heard of that, like, probably not unlike you guys. I've heard of that movie over time, just reputationally, like, oh, that's Malcolm McDowell. That sounds kind of interesting, kind of anarchic or whatever. But you guys basically warned me off of that. But good. It was not a pleasant experience.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to warn people off of this movie, because this movie is actually really fun. It's just, I think I might enjoy it more the second time I watch it, but I don't know. I really do wish there had been less comedy. I wish it had been more of a drama, because Andrew McCarthy, the character he's playing is out of a different movie.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like each of the male characters are kind of out of different movies. Like, Kevin Dillon's out of a movie. Kevin Dillon is out of a movie that is in the 80s, like a movie set in the 80s. Cause like they were saying that in the 80s, maybe saying homo, but not,
Yeah, you could easily made all of the sort of gang characters that sort of people this world more in the background and bring everybody else up, and it would have worked as a movie. I completely agree with that, because you're right. Like, the adult characters are very serious. Dunn's character is serious. Danny's character is serious. Like,
they're dealing with real things, and then you got these goofball jackoffs that are just fucking around half the time.
But they make. Because that stuff, everything I described, is horribly depressing. So
it's not fun. Like, but again, like, there is something about that could be good and entertaining and worthwhile, even though it's a hell of a bummer. Because maybe in a more serious movie, you have Rooney and his pals dying on the bridge in a more serious movie,
right?
Not in this one where it's like yuck, 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 Bud Melman.
Or
yuck,
we
yuck.
could have a serious movie like The Chocolate War, that sort of, I think, is that movie you're describing. This is not that. This is lighter version. This is the more feel-good version of the prep school journey. And I think
I agree.
This movie, Chocolate War, and the other movie I program, which is Toy Soldiers, like, those are more what you're describing in a feature, which is there's definitely a narrative to it. Like, it's all going in a direction, as opposed to the sort of more episodic, slice
Homer's
of life.
Odyssey type thing.
Right. He's trying to get somewhere. Aren't these journeys interesting? But he's got a destination.
Yeah.
One movie, as I was watching it, that I was kind of reminded of, and this isn't a movie about prep school, or it's not as nearly as sort of dark as this is. But for some reason, it came to mind when I was watching this was the movie The Flamingo Kid, which ironically stars Matt Dillon, Kevin Dillon's brother, but
and takes place in the same time period.
It's a similar deal where you have this kind of person who comes into this situation in this life that he has no experience with. And in Matt Dillon's case, he's going to work at this exclusive country club. But at the end of the day, he learns about life and he learns some hard truths about the adults that he's dealing with and how to, and dealing with his family and all of that. If I was going to like program a double feature, that might be a good double feature there, because you have the dark side of it, which is Heaven Help Us, which is, it's tonally a little more challenging. But The Flamingo Kid is nothing more, it's just lightness, it's comedy, some
it's breezy and drama. Yeah. It is a better blend of comedy and drama together, than this one. But you're absolutely right. It would be a perfect double bill.
Yeah.
Or using the Wallace Shawn connection, We're No Angels.
Oh.
I mean, that's set before this movie, right?
A little bit. I think in the 20s, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Wallace Shawn and I know he's a time traveler and we love him in everything, but
that's fair.
Brother Ignatius. Oh, by the way, I want to point out one other thing. There is a sequence in the film where all the boys are going to confession and Rooney is consulting with everyone and telling them how to narrow down their sins so that they won't be, doing rosaries for the rest of their life. That is a real thing. We all did it. You just tack on a lie at the end. You go, oh, and I also lie. This sort of, deals with God that these boys had to go through is a very real thing. And I admired that they put it in the movie.
Interesting. So really, you would do that during confession.
Yes.
You would kind of barter down your sins. Was there one guy who was kind of like the ringleader? He was.
No, it wasn't like that, because I would never discuss that, because you're in church when it's happening. So this idea that you're just sort of bullshitting, while you're waiting to go to confession, that is not the case. Everyone is quiet. It's church. But I certainly in my mind would tally up what I had done and what I could actually say and get away with.
Yikes, dude. Lots of guilt.
Yeah.
I got guilt on my own. I don't need somebody to tell me how much more guilty I need to be.
Well, they say Catholics have to go to school to learn it, right?
I guess. Is that what they say? Again, I don't know. Is it? I believe you.
I've heard it.
So, HP, since you will not be coming back later this month, I wanted to ask you a question, and that I should have been asking everybody up until this point. What is your preparatory school film of choice? Is it, if it is this movie, what is your second choice?
Actually, I'm going to steal the suggestion that Father Malone made. So this would be my film of choice, not necessarily because it reflects my personal prep school experience, but because I think it does capture something ineffable about that experience without having gone through all of the awfulness. I'm going to echo pretty much everything that Father Malone said about, the people the friends you make and the experiences you have. It's a bonding thing. Maybe second best, actually, and I'm surprised to say this, but it actually kind of sparks something in my head. Father Malone just mentioned Toy Soldiers. I actually don't think that's a bad second choice, because there's something about that school, not that it's my favorite movie or whatever, but there's something about the school and how it's all depicted in the movie, at least fictionally, that does remind me a little bit of my prep school experience. Not that we were ever taken over by a terrorist group trying to free a mafia, whatever the plot was. Maybe without
you weren't there that day though. That you were out.
That's right.
It was a whole thing. HP. Don't you remember? They wrote about it in the yearbook and everything.
Yes. No. I without any deeper contemplation, I would say those two probably, but definitely Heaven Help Us. I think this was a great choice.
And you know what? You didn't have to say it. You didn't say it, or if, because you haven't seen If. But if you had seen If, Miroslav Ondrejek does the cinematography for that film, Father Malone, and this one. Sure does.
Wow. He's good, man.
I know. I think like we've kind of already mentioned, like HP and yourself had mentioned Father Malone. The movie looks amazing.
Yes, it's lovingly shot, right?
Yeah. Which again, Miroslav Ondrejek works on all kinds of other things that aren't these kinds of preparatory school movies, namely Riding in Cars with Boys. A League of Their Own, FX. Funny Farm, The World According to Garp,
Funny Farm. I love Funny Farm.
But Chevy, God, that's one of those Chevy Chase movies that, just everybody forgot about.
I was working working my first job as an usher in a movie theater that was playing that movie. So I saw it a lot. And I know it's not good, but like I remember enjoying it extra just because I could see it for free anytime I wanted.
Is it better or worse than Modern Problems?
It's
way better.
It is way better. It is way better.
Yeah.
Like Modern Problems, if I said that, then you could accuse me of nostalgia, because I tried to rewatch that recently and I was like, what were you thinking, sir?
Funny Farm I think Funny Farm is better than you remember it being, because like recently reading an article about it and I was like, that actually, I like it because it's a little more nihilistic. Like there's really not a lot of, the characters are not necessarily good characters, and I respect that. And it was George Roy Hill. I mean, Slapshot. I have to,
World According to Garp.
World According. Oh, he did Garp too. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Miroslav Andrzejczyk. They were working together a lot as well, apparently. And that helps with a movie like this, that it's nice to look at, because that was something Up the Academy did not have.
No, there was no care at all. Robert Downey Sr. is the, cinematically kind of like the Kevin Smith of his age, is just like set the camera up and go, like this is lovingly shot. Michael Dinner, he's a big television guy now and has been for decades.
Yeah.
I think he did a fantastic job. I want to shout out one more thing, because I watched the film all through the credits there, and I noticed it was dedicated to a fellow named Otto Paolini. So I looked up Otto Paolini, and he worked basically as the colorist for a bunch of movies. Like he was the Technicolor guy who made the movies look the way the directors wanted, and the cinematographer. He worked on Dawn of the Dead, One from the Heart, Creepshow, The World According to Garp, and this movie. That's a pretty good list of movies to have done anything on, to have like walked on the set and gone, hi everybody, and walked off.
That's fair. Well, and Michael Dinner, to his credit, he has Offbeat, this movie, and Hot to Trot.
Ooh, the horse movie.
Yeah, the John Candy Bobcat Goldthwait horse movie that we did an episode on so long ago, and that movie is so unfun. It's like it's so bad in an unfun way that I couldn't even suggest you hate watch it, because it's not fun.
Do you appreciate this movie even more now, thinking about Hot to Trot?
I don't know. I would like to
Chris,
see off.
You and I have made a career of comparing two things.
Fair.
Right?
That's fair. I will say, from what I remember from Hot to Trot, that movie is irredeemably bad.
So
this movie is way better.
Further in your estimation?
Yeah. Okay. Have either of you seen Michael Dinner's other? I was calling Michael Winner. Michael Dinner's other film, Offbeat.
Is that with Judge Reinhold?
Yes.
It's like a cop dancing movie, a dancing cop movie, right?
He's a librarian who impersonates a cop.
Yes, I liked that movie.
Sounds fun.
It is. It is fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but I can.
Wow.
No, I remember the ads for it, like the commercials, and I remember
with him dancing, like trying to dance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Soul Man, but what is?
No, and HP. Do you remember there was a documentary that played on cable all the time, and it was about like this youth theater in New York, and it was this like sort of very charismatic like choreographer, dancer, and he like had all these kids. And he was teaching them. It was going to be a production of. You've seen it, right?
I have some memory of this, but I can't think of the title.
But the guy in that movie, that documentary about, is in Offbeat. He's like the choreographer for the cops in the movie.
See, now I got to look it up.
This is every conversation, Chris, between me and HP. It's just rambling nonsense down a stupid cultural 1980s to 70s hole.
I mean, I was hoping you would bring up The Crew instead, the 2000s old.
Oh, Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Also a Michael Dinner film.
Oh, was it?
It sure was.
So I guess he led with his strongest foot.
That's what it must be.
Sometimes it's just lightning in a bottle right out the gate.
And you know what is equally as weird? At some point, Michael Dinner directed a much older Patrick Dempsey in Grey's Anatomy.
That must have been interesting.
Fucking wild. That had to have been something else, because this is like
that was his first movie.
Yeah, this is his first role. I mean, he's given effectively second, I guess, the least amount of anything to do. Somehow less than Stephen Jeffries.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy is like these characters are nothing characters, but I do know their names. And it's not because I've seen the movie that many times. It's like they say them so often and so memorably in the movie that I know Patrick Dempsey is Corbett. Like it's a zero character, right? He has maybe 2 lines.
Nothing.
He doesn't get a sequence like Williams gets with the, with the communion.
Yeah.
No, he should have. I don't know why he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to even out those guys. Like maybe they cut it, you never know.
Well, and I will say that about the movie. The movie's also a little long. It's 104 minutes. It could probably have used 10 minutes less.
Disagree. I mean, yes. Okay. Take out
the bridge scene.
The bridge sequence.
The bridge scene. Yeah.
Like and then the rest of the movie flows right along.
That bridge, like we kind of keep mentioning it because, I don't think we should. I mean, we keep mentioning it, so we should probably at least talk about it a little bit. There's a scene in this movie that definitely feels like it's from another movie altogether.
It feels like the TNA comedy that this movie was advertised as, where Kevin Dillon and Dana Barron have left the car where Caesar and Yardley Smith are sitting in the car that is parked on a drawbridge in the middle of New York City. And then the clueless operator played by Larry Bud Melman, who did you even know who he is, Chris?
I've seen him he's in Freaked.
He is in Freaked.
He is.
He was the mainstay on David Letterman. They would just have him cut to him like cackling like that. Anyway, so he opens the bridge while the car is on it and they're trying to get the car up and it's shenanigans. And then the car, we think it's okay, but it's not. But it never looked okay because as soon as the bridge starts to open, the axle of the car drops out. Right. And then it never really retracts all. See, there are problems beyond that. It's a stupid sequence that doesn't belong in this movie. Like it doesn't make sense geographically. Like they're parked on the bridge. The bridge opens long enough that the car doesn't fall off. No boat passes through the channel, and then it closes and it destroys the car. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It's weird because it's almost as if the bridge operator, Larry Bud Melman, like he's cackling. He opens the bridge, the boat's coming, but then somehow I get the sense that he noticed that there was something on the bridge and he retracted it. And that's the only thing I can think of that would explain why, because you're right. It's opening and the boat's coming through. It's not far.
No, it's like moments away.
Yeah. It would have been better if the car had just fallen. It would have been a merciful ending to this awful scene. But it keeps going and going and going. And And then there's that sort of a little bit of a grim epilogue where they're going to see the Pope. And now Rooney, his face is all beaten up now. And I think someone says, what happened to your face? Is, my dad came home from the track or whatever. So
my dad got home from Chicago. By the way, I was going to point that out as a funny part of the movie.
That he got the shit beat out of him because he messed up the car.
Yes.
I don't find that funny.
Rooney is such a son of a bitch. He deserved that beating. He destroyed that car with its electric leather seats. Electric.
I don't. That scene is really bad.
It's awful. You could cut it out of. You could fan edit it out of the movie. It would be, to me, a perfect film.
The Father Malone cut.
Yeah, I'm going to do it now. Now I have to do it.
Aptly titled.
Back when
HBO it's always been about the religious part of your life, man. Father Malone.
That's true. Well, back when HP and I were in school, I was just Junior Malone then. It took years to get to this title, man.
That's right. For a while, you were Bugsy Malone.
It's true. That's when I was in grade school. I was Bugsy.
Were you Nugsy Malone for a while as well?
Well, I'm never not. I just don't like to advertise.
Oh, that's fair.
So I think part of the root of because obviously Father Malone and I did have similar experiences because we were drawn together during high school. But I think part of the reason why he had a tougher time than I did and a tougher time in formative years is because he's always been more of a nonconformist than I ever had the courage to be, frankly. Father Malone would come to school. He would have his chapeau. He would wear, very long coats with all kinds of buttons and stuff. And if he could have gotten away with it, he would have dyed his hair green then. But would have been a bridge.
I did dye my hair green and I got away with it for like a week with the hat on. And then my mother one day went, "Get over here. What did you do?"
Your mom made you dye your hair back? I didn't know that story. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the nuns would have just cut it off.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got off easy, I guess. But yeah.
But how did you get away with wearing a hat throughout school? Like, wouldn't?
No. This wasn't in school. This was out of school. But I did that
in school.
I definitely would have if I could have. But I couldn't have gotten away with it at home, so I wasn't going to get away with it at school either.
Right. So that goes some way to where Father Malone at this point, Chris, so I'm not saying anything you don't know about his character, but he was always more of a, frankly, more rebellious. So, and I think that kind of feeds into his...
Not true. I'm a good boy.
I call Father Malone Big Brother for a reason. He's the most conformist of conformists I know.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And I want you all to be exactly the same.
This is the man who has to put a wig on to film a video podcast because otherwise it would look like his head was a green screen. He's the most nonconformist person I know, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
which is why
you both to say, and I will. Your check is on the way. We still do checks, right? Like
you writing and sending a check is the most conformist thing I can do.
Is it now? Nobody's doing it.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like old women at the grocery store writing checks.
Yeah,
and like rich white people.
Yeah, pricks.
How else do you pay for things? Yeah, I'll send you a check. Yeah.
At some point when I get around to it.
Pay for things if you're rich.
Why would you? You
secret reptile money. That's how.
Always.
Yeah. Those tunnels underneath the cities, man. That's where the currency is stored.
Tribulation 99.
I want to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. You know about that, HP? You know about aliens and what the fuck? Church of the Subgenius?
I'm not as well versed. I do have a VHS copy of Tribulation 99 socked away somewhere, though. I have to
my brother.
And again, it's undoubtedly Father Malone's influence on my life. I'm sure we were, I'm sure
I sent it to you, made you watch it,
Yeah, hey, you got to see. I think because it ties in somewhat because we were both, he really got into them before me, but he was a big fan of Emergency Broadcast Network, the band. And I think they feature in Tribulation 99. Or no, the other movie that the same director did.
Yes.
Craig something.
Craig Mitchell, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. So
no, Craig Baldwin, as reported to Baldwin. Is that what it says?
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. So by way of this band, I came to know Craig Baldwin and Tribulation 99.
Okay.
So I want to watch it now really badly. So
let's do it now. Live stream it.
When I'm not watching Heaven Help Us.
Yes.
I mean, it's only like 30 minutes, right? Something like that.
Tribulation 99? Yeah, maybe 45 maybe.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you a question, Chris? I'm sorry.
Sure. No, go for it.
So you got me thinking. So obviously you didn't have the same kind of prep experience that Father Malone and I did. But if you could, let me turn the question around to you a little bit. Like, is there a movie depiction of the high school experience that really speaks to you that would be your, whether it's your favorite movie or not, something that really kind of, I think you think illuminates what you went through?
Again, for me in high school, I shockingly was not as cool as I am now. What a surprise.
Who was?
Yeah, that's fair. Probably. Well, I don't know. It sounds like you were.
Yeah, I was.
I was not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like high school experience for me. I mean, there were. I don't know. Man. You know what? Here, I'll give you something that I could relate to. It's not a high school movie, but it's kind of like this movie, and this is just Heavyweights
with Ben Stiller.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
I was a fat kid growing up, and like that was like like it's a movie about a bunch of fat kids who beat the shit out of a jock.
Yeah,
written by Judd Apatow.
Yes,
and it stars Ben Stiller essentially playing White Goodman from Dodgeball.
Right,
but I would actually
contend the other Ben Stiller character. He has two, either insufferable like nerd or insufferable jock,
or that third option from Starsky and Hutch. Do it.
Oh yeah, well that's
that's the best one.
He goes way back, that character.
Yeah,
Ben Stiller show. We love that. Casey Kasem, come on, do the dog voice. Come on, do it. Come on, do it for my wife. Come, bring a plate of food over. Act like a waiter.
I mean, that character's kind of in Heavyweights. The Tony Perkins Sr., the lighting fixture king.
Right.
That's probably the movie I would relate to the most is Heavyweights. Because, like, again, I didn't go to a preparatory school. I don't even, I guess the question is, high school movies that would be depicting my high school experience would have been coming out when? When I was in high school or after the fact?
Yeah, good question, right? Because this movie came out when we were going. I mean, we were about to go. So
it came out in 85, right? Like,
yeah, but this is wildly specific. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This isn't like Fast Times at Ridgemont High that everyone can draw something of their high school experience.
Or if you're Richard, that is his high school experience.
Is it?
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah,
I mean, he went to high school in L.A. Like,
oh well, I'm sure his was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and God damn it, why weren't we all on the West Coast?
Right? I don't, because again, like I think What's funny is, HP, to your question, like high school that I went to was like shockingly boring. Like, so like, you know what? If I had gone to this, I would have the stories that y'all do. The stories that I have were just like the teachers were fucking miserable because they didn't want to be there and they just didn't give a shit. And they would put movies on when they didn't want to teach. You know, I can tell you how many times I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wow.
In high school, in middle school. Fuck yeah, dude.
In what class?
Oh, I saw it in journalism, man.
Journalism? I thought you were going to say geography. And I was like, well, I mean, they got a lot of maps in that movie.
Those teachers actually taught. The journalism professor was just like this old miserable woman who was like, I used to work at the newspaper. And it's like,
that one.
You bet you did.
Yeah,
with the past tense. But, you know, like, I don't know. I would have to really think about it because like I didn't have the American Pie high school thing. I don't know. I would have to really think about it. Yeah, you put me on the spot and I don't have an answer. You know, movies I watched when I was in high school, like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yes. Well, you're very, very young. Okay. We're old. We get it, Chris. We're fossils from the 70s.
But I wasn't that guy in high school. Like, that wasn't even who I was. Like, that's who I am now in a lot of ways. Like, the happy-go-lucky stoner guy. Like, I wasn't that in high school. My wife says it the best. Like, nobody that I know now would have liked me. Me from high school. Like, they wouldn't have. I know for a fact they wouldn't have. But now I'm not that way. So like HPI, I think probably Heavyweights for me is that. Which is a like underrated movie. Like, it's actually it's a funny fucking movie for a movie that's made by made under the Disney logo on top of everything else.
Yeah, it felt like they somehow slipped something under the door there.
And there's a version, and then there's plenty. There's so much in that movie that's ADR'd that they ADR'd jokes out of the movie that were PG-13 jokes.
Is there a cut of this?
No, but you can tell.
Hashtag release the Apatow cut.
You can see in like some of the scenes, like one of the scenes is like, nobody's seen more butts than you, Uncle Tony. I think it's like the joke is like, who's seen more butts? I think it's like, who's Peter stuffs? It's like Peter stuffs it up your ass or something like that in a kid's Disney movie. And so they change it to see more butts.
My favorite bit of ADR in movie history is there's a movie called The Best of Times with Kurt Russell and Robin Williams. It's a football redemption movie. Like, these high school things are going to replay the big game where they failed, right? And at one point, Kurt Russell says, like, someone says they're going to beat us like 100-1. He goes, they might beat us 1,000,000-1, but what fool cares? And he's clearly saying, but who the cares? So he's like directly into the camera, like, what fool cares? What did am I stroking out? It was like such a film thing. Like, yeah, we'll change the line, but that's it. You're still getting the shot.
I just love ADR in movies where it's like just a establishing shot with characters talking.
That's not the best.
Walking into the distance, like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what the did you forget something from the script?
Yeah.
God. Well, I guess HP, my final question to you is, what are your final thoughts on Heaven Help Us, aka Catholic Boys?
It holds up, I think, still. Having, like I said, watching it. This is probably the first time I've watched it in its entirety, probably in over 10 years. And although, some of it maybe didn't ring quite as true as it did, 20, 30 years ago, I think it still holds up. I think it looks great. It's acted well, great actors. So I think it's a great little sweet movie.
What about you, Father Malone, programmer of the month?
Everything HP just said. I do think this is an incredibly good-hearted movie with all of this depression and horribleness sort of staggered around it. And that's the Roman Catholic experience. So I love this movie sort of unabashedly. Like, it has problems. Every movie has problems. I can look past them quite easily in this case because look, I'm getting older and more sentimental, certainly, but the love story between Danny and Dunn just really hits me where it hurts. And I just adore it. And whatever else they hung on the movie, I would still like the movie for that storyline. And the fact is, I enjoyed everything else sort of around it, except for the bridge scene. Cut the bridge scene. I'm going to cut the bridge scene. I'm going to post it on YouTube. Go to fathermalone.com and see that there.
I was going to say, one thing we didn't mention is this movie is an HBO movie, just like a movie we talked about last month. Silver Screen Partners, HBO Pictures presents The Hitcher.
This is one of the movies that was on the list. They hooked up with TriStar. HBO had a deal with TriStar where they were producing, and then they would get a theatrical run, and then HBO would pick it up immediately afterwards. So in a way, like, obviously this movie did play in theaters, But thankfully, it was an HBO movie because HP and I got to see it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Ad infinitum.
As for me, I enjoyed it. It's kind of tonally all over the place. It doesn't, again, like Up the Academy, doesn't have much of a plot. But this movie, unlike those two, really overcomes that with some decent performances from great performances from almost everybody. Again, Kevin Dillon's character notwithstanding about how much you can deal with his abrasiveness, because his character is one of those characters in movies where it might be enough for someone to turn the movie off. I mean, again,
but you know what? That is that guy, honestly.
Right. And again, like just like Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element, like some people are going to be like, I don't want to deal with watching this movie because there's this character, just like the character in Up the Academy of Vervigart. Like that character is just like so awful that it's like you're just grinding everything to a halt. Kevin Dillon is not that, but he's really abrasive. Yes. Outside of that, I think this is a perfectly fine prep school movie. And if you have the experience of this, I can understand why this would be something that you would definitely resonate with more so than, say, If or Up the Academy. So I didn't have that experience, though. So
I'm not expecting any of your listeners to rush out and see the movie and relate to it in the ways that HB and I did. But I don't think you need to, because, look, I've never fought in a space battle, but I like, I like Star Trek too.
And you can watch this movie in its entirety on YouTube.
Can you? Good. Everyone watch it immediately.
Sure can. It's broken across 11 parts, but you sure can. How do I know?
You should.
It's because of how I watched it.
Oh, what? I would have sent it to you.
It's okay. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Did I say it hurt my ability to enjoy the movie? I watched it twice, but that was the first way I watched it.
Oh, okay.
It was HBO Presents, all right. I'm surprised that's not the version they had on HBO Max.
Yeah, but
given the way those fuckers treated The Hitcher.
The Hitcher was an awful transfer. So I'm glad. I'm glad this was a little more loving.
The Hitcher transfer on HBO HP is a VHS copy of the movie.
Really? I thought
right now
really?
In 2022, you can go watch The Hitcher, and it is like dog shit of the highest order.
That was a very popular movie. I mean, that was huge at the time. Rutger Hauer and everything. I remember that being, especially on HBO, that was big movie at the time.
Well, they're still showing us the version we were getting then.
I guess
it doesn't have dragons in it, so they just don't care. They're not invested in putting money into it, so no dragons.
Well, they can always just add one in, like
Rutger Hauer just
with it,
flying around on a dragon.
Maybe during that helicopter scene, just throw it in the background.
Yeah, sure, why not? So on that note, we'll take a break and we will play a preview for the next Kulturecast of Prep School September.
You know what, Archie? What? Life is sad sometimes.
2 more names.
Your name is Roland Goobert.
Tell me why you're here!
For an assignment.
Who the hell do they think I am?
I'm in charge here now. The entire school is my responsibility. Don't ever forget that. If the sale goes down the drain, you and the vigils go down the drain.
One more name. The kid who just left the field. When they wiped out.
Kid named Renault. Freshman. His mother just died.
Poor kid. That must be hard. You know what he needs?
What?
Therapy. We can't make your life very bad. Very sad.
Father.
It's your mother, Jerry. She's proud of you. Put him down for the chocolates.
This is more than a sale. It is a crusade.
I'm not going to sell the chocolates.
The boys have become infected. A terrible disease, difficult to cure.
Yeah, you're missing a lot of things, Jerry.
I'm just asking you to take the chocolates and sell them.
We're not asking, Archie. We're telling.
Why keep them calm?
Cut out magazines, remind me. I sit and wait alone.
Thy will be done.
In my room.
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we're talking about a movie that I think I'm the most excited to watch this month of everything. We're going to be talking about the chocolate war.
Yes, this is the best one. I mean, it is. There's no question. If you ask me the question, which is my favorite, this is the chocolate war is definitely my favorite. I haven't watched it yet again for the podcast, but I am savoring the opportunity to do so.
And who are we going to be joined by? My Effendi? Who? Father Malone.
I believe that is Detroit's own Mike White. The projection booth's Mike White.
Ranking on Bass's Mike White.
That's right. The Shabby Detectives Mike White.
Mike White's Mike White.
Yes, he's a funky one.
Yeah, impossibly
so.
Impossibly so. But he'll be joining us on that episode, and I'm looking forward to it. And I got a book I got to read before then, also titled The Chocolate War. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So until then, HP, where could people find you on the internet should they be looking?
So I am the co-host with Father Malone of Wolf and Raisin, the Banachek podcast. And we're also working on a taxi podcast, another taxi podcast called Good Night, Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. Look for that soon.
Father Malone, what about you?
Well, if you want to find like my video stuff and everything, you go to fathermalone.com. If you want to find my podcast, you can go to fathermalone.com. That'll get you there too. I just want to announce that I'm very, very happy that I'm now part of a media giant. I've joined the Weirding Way Media Network. That's where you're going to find all my stuff eventually, but you go to fathermalone.com and it'll get you there.
Yeah. As for me, cstachiw.com is the place where I work on all of my stuff, including all of the numerous shows that are on, Cats Out of the Bag, the Weirding Way Media Network, which is where most of our shows are going to be.
Including Good Night, Mr. Walters, the Taxi Podcast.
Including Shabby Detective and Rankin' on Bass and The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller and the Kolchak tapes. And there's a lot of stuff. And you can find it all at weirdingwaymedia.com, actually. So there you go. This is the first time. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yikes. We'll remember this when we sell it to Amazon.
When they pry it from our cold dead heads.
But yeah, as for this show, Kulturecast.com, patreon.com/Kulturecast, all the things you could do to support us monetarily, but you don't have to. Just listen. I understand times are hard and everybody's struggling, myself included. Maybe not with money, but it's not just money that matters in the world, folks. That's why you should just listen. As for my guest, HP, thank you so much for joining me for your first time. Mr. Newster.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure, Chris. Thank you so much.
And I would thank you, Father Malone, but you're going to be back next week, so there's nothing to thank you for until we get to the end of this month. And we'll catch you on the next episode.